5 days in a row we've been doing news times. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, my goodness. So, welcome back to another news time, everyone. I'm your host, Mark97. We're going to talk about some news and rumors around the NHL in the past couple days. If you do enjoy what you see here, do make sure to like, hit that subscribe button, as we're trying to get to 400 subscribers. No, 500 subscribers by June of 2021. So, that's pretty far away. But let's get into it. So, we got quite a bit of news here. Some rumors, some news. Not really exactly a lot of news. There is one big piece of news that we got to get into. But there is a lot of rumors and stuff. So, this one right here is a rumor. Alexander Ovechkin was reportedly offered a 3 to 5 year deal by the Capitals. Now, of course, we know Ovechkin is on an expiring contract. It expires next season. And you think to your... Oh, I almost dropped this. And you think to yourself, you're like, okay, so if he leaves Washington, where does he go? Where does Ovi go? I don't think he leaves Washington. If this offer is true, that's great. That likely locks him up for the rest of his career, to be honest with you. Because, 2004, he was drafted in 2004, and, we're in 2020, so he's playing, and he's heading to his 17th NHL season. And, yeah, it's going to be a pretty close stretch, especially with the Gretzky goal thing. With him going to pass Gretzky's goal record, he's especially going to need to really work up his game since he's heading into his 17th. I'll say it again, season. Ovechkin had 48 goals, 19 assists, and 67 points this season, with a 4 goals, 1 assist, and 5 points in 8 playoff games. Now, the other thing is, does Ovechkin really want to stay in Washington? Because it seems like Washington, they're aging. A lot of their players are getting older. And they're coming up to the point where, it's starting to look like a rebuild. They won the Stanley Cup in 2018. That was great. That was awesome. First cup ever. But then after that, I don't want to say they went downhill because they still were at first place in their division both these years. But they lost in the first round to Carolina after being first place. And then they lost to the New York Islanders after being first place, which, to be fair with them, COVID kind of killed them. COVID killed a lot of teams. Elliot Friedman was talking about that in the 31 Thoughts podcast. But, yeah, so a lot of things happened. Another piece of news. This is actually news, not rumor. There was a trade between the Minnesota Wild and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Did not expect this to exactly happen while I was eating dinner. So, the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired a conditional 7th-round pick from 2021, and the Minnesota Wild acquired Nick Bjugstad, which had 50% salary retained. This was surprising because Nick Bjugstad was undeniably bad this season. Undeniably. And he didn't play, and he did not live up to the standards that he was supposed to live up to. He had 2 points in 13 games this NHL season. 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. You think to yourself, you're like, yeah, you need to get him out of Pittsburgh. He was obviously not fitting with the chemistry in Pittsburgh or anything with Pittsburgh. So along with Galchenyuk, he's off to Minnesota. It seems like all Pittsburgh does is just trade their bad players to Minnesota. It's like when Murray gets bad, send him off to Minnesota. When Zucker gets bad, send him off to Minnesota. When Galchenyuk gets bad, send him to Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's basically Pittsburgh's farm team. We got a rumor here. This isn't exactly a rumor. It's kind of half and half. It's kind of rumor. It's kind of news. Nolan Patrick of the Philadelphia Flyers is reported to maybe be coming back next season. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard that, and it's been a rumor coming around for the past couple of days around the Flyers. And the Flyers, they're going to come into next season and they're going to be hot. They're going to be absolutely insane. I think they, like the Capitals, they were a team that COVID killed them. Yes, they did make it to the second round, but they barely got past Montreal. 6 games, barely got past Montreal. They could have sealed it. They could have sealed it out in 5, but they didn't. But they could have sealed it out in 5. They could have sealed it out in 4, but they didn't. So Philadelphia was obviously not playing, and they were. COVID killed them. Heading to this season, what do you have that's different? This team, I don't think you make any moves. I don't think you make any moves at all. I think you re-sign the players that need to be re-signed, and you re-sign Elliott especially, and you just move on. Because, you have Nolan Patrick, who in 2018-19, Patrick had 13 goals, 18 assists for 31 points for the Flyers. And, that's great. And you also have Cam York. That's someone we forget about. Roddy Ross. You have two pretty good players. You have three good players that are going to start coming into your lineup over the next couple of years. And Cam York is definitely one of them. So, not Cam York. Nolan Patrick is definitely one of them. So, this is the team. They're getting their prospects. There's three prospects. Three hyped up prospects that you should be hyped about coming into Philadelphia and over the next couple of years. And, with Patrick in here, it adds to this insane core. I think that this team can really make a solid run at the play. And I think that, they didn't win it this year, but they're going to go further next year. You can quote me on that however you want, but I think Philly definitely goes further next year. They have the core, they have the pieces, they have everything. Another thing. So, this is something we covered yesterday. Leonard denied ever accepting a contract by Vegas. Now, the contract was like 3 to 5 years. Or it was like a 5-year, $21 million deal or something. And it was pretty outrageous. It's good compared to it's good compared to his stats in the playoffs, but it might be a little teensy bit too much, but it's whatever. He denied ever accepting that contract. That doesn't mean he rejected it. Maybe he just said, I'll think about it after playoffs. We'll see what happens. So that's deniable. And it's kind of ironic, too, because right when I made the video, the crap about that this came out. Like, right when I made the video, right when I went onto my phone to Twitter, it said, Leonard denies ever... I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? Right when I made this video. So that was just my luck. This is probably, like, one of the worst signings I've ever seen by the Los Angeles Kings. To be completely honest with you. So, the LA Kings signed Sean Walker to a 4-year deal. People were saying, "Oh, this is a horrible deal. This is a horrible deal." It's probably one of the worst deals I've ever seen by the Kings, but it's not horrible deal. Sean Walker had 5 goals, 19 assists, and 24 points in the games he played with the Los Angeles Kings. We'll see how he works out next season, but I don't know. So we have 4 more things here. Nathan McKinnon has won the Lady Byng Trophy. The Lady Byng Trophy is for like the most sportsmanly player. McKinnon this season with the Colorado Avalanche had 35 goals, 58 assists for 93 points, and had 9 goals, 16 assists for 25 points in 15 playoff games. Very good player, very sportsmanly. And you see all these offers where he's like, next year I will definitely be taking a more team-friendly offer this year, and he's been saying that every year. I remember at the beginning of this season, he said he's going to take a more team-friendly offer, and I'm thinking to myself, how can you hate this guy? He's not begging for money like a lot of players would, and he just wants. He's such a good guy too. He's probably one of the best guys this league has ever had, and he's friends with Crosby and all that good stuff. I think that McKinnon is one of the nicest players ever. We have one more thing. We have another thing here. This is the Flames are now another team that has reported interest. They had some multiple teams of interest in Darcy Kemper. Now, Darcy Kemper with the Arizona Coyotes had 16 wins, 11 losses, and 12 overtime/shootouts. In the playoffs, he was 4-5 in 9 playoff games. That's not including qualifying rounds, or is it? No, it is. So, he played solid. He was very solidified in that qualifying round against Predators. I think that, look at this team. I think that they really shouldn't trade Kemper, Arizona. If you can get something decent for Kemper, if you can get something really good for Kemper, like unbelievably good, then go for it. But apart from that, it's not really worth it, to be completely honest with you. So I wouldn't go for it. I wouldn't do anything about it, and just stay away. We have things here with Vancouver and Pittsburgh. Tyler Toffoli, he wants to stay in Vancouver. Now, we've talked about Tyler Toffoli many times before, especially in the Canucks trade. He was 24-20, and he was 24-20. Actually, no, I'm sorry. With the split games between the Los Angeles Kings and the Vancouver Canucks, Tyler Toffoli had 24 goals, 20 assists for 44 points. Now, that is very great numbers. I think that they should really just keep Tyler Toffoli. To be fair, Toffoli, he was playing on a bad Kings team, and he went to a good Canucks team. So I think that this really it was really just a great move by the Canucks, and I think that they should really keep him. He was he had 2 goals, 2 assists, and 4 points in 7 playoff games. Now that's not exactly the best numbers, but to be fair, he didn't play a lot. I don't even think he played at all he didn't play at all in the first round. He came back in game 2 of the second round and played great. I think that you definitely keep Tyler Toffoli this season. We have some news on the Penguins. We've talked about Matt Murray many times before on the channel, and Pittsburgh in general many times on the channel. Let's talk about him again, shall we? So Matt Murray trade coming sooner rather than later. Their GM quoted, Edmonton, Colorado, Calgary, among others, interested. Now, I could see either of these teams. I've talked about multiple of these teams before. Like with Edmonton, they have Mike Smith and Cam Talbot. You need to get rid of Smith. Not Cam Talbot. Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. Get rid of Smith, and you have that Murray Koskinen lineup. That's perfect. Colorado, they need a solid goalie. Francouz played decent when he had to, but you need someone else on the backup and with Grubauer. And then Calgary, they have Cam Talbot and Dave Riddick. You need someone to replace Talbot, so I think that would work out well. Matt Murray with the Pittsburgh Penguins had a record of 20, 11, and 5 in the regular season. Not that bad statistics. I don't know how that's a down year. And 1 and 2 in 3 playoff games. Do you trade him? I've discussed it so many times before. And if you haven't watched the video, do make sure to go look at it. No. You do not trade Tyler. You do not trade Matt Murray. I think that it would be one of the dumbest moves to do by this club. And I think that with this, you need to just keep him. Because you have two good goalies in net. You have Tristan Jarry, who's likely going to be the starter, and then you have Matt Murray. I've said this about Vegas. I've said this about Vancouver. I think it's the same with Pittsburgh. You keep Matt Murray, you have two good goaltenders. If you want to know more about the Matt Murray stuff, definitely go make sure to check out the video. I have made a video about the Pen stuff. I'll have it linked wherever. So yeah, that's it for news time. It's pretty entertaining news time. If you did enjoy it, do make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers, 500 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for the constant support. It's been awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next. You thought I was done, didn't you? Well, guess what? You thought wrong. I was gonna be done though. So, recently, I was just editing the video, getting all the videos edited, getting ready to go. I was like, okay, perfect. And I got a notification on my phone. So there was a trade alert. There's been another trade between the Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes, where the Canadiens have acquired rights to UFA defenseman Joel Edmondson, and the Carolina Hurricanes got a 2020 fifth-round pick. Now, is this a good deal? I think that, Joel Edmondson, before he went to Carolina, he was with St. Louis, and he was part of that Justin Falk trade. So, more or less, Carolina got a fifth-round pick out of that trade. So, and, Joel Edmondson had 7 goals, 13 assists, and 20 points in the regular season. And he had 1 goal, no assists, and 1 point in the playoffs. So, in 4 playoff games. So, you look at this, you're like, is this a good deal? I think it's a good deal for Carolina. I think you really just relieve another defenseman off your list, and you add another prospect to their stacked prospect, their stacked draft picks core. So, Montreal, they get a decent defenseman back. We'll see if they re-sign him. But now the Habs have rights to Joel Edmondson. So yeah, thought I'd just make this short little clip add on to the news time. So yeah, thanks for watching for real this time, and I will see you guys in the next video.